Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Conspiracy Cafe. I am your host, Ronald, and I know it's been a while since I did a show, so I'm going to do one right now, and I want to do one on this whole drone issue. Today is December 24th, 2024, and Merry Christmas to everybody. So, I made a few notes here. I want to talk about what I think. I just need to make some statements about these drones because there's some important issues that aren't being discussed from what I've seen on some of these videos I've watched about the drones. So let's go over this. I have a list of 6 things I want to talk about. All right, first of all, number 1, we cannot count on the Pentagon or the U.S. corporation in D.C. that's posing as a government and has militarily invaded the United States via Northern Command, northcom.mil. You can check it out. So we can't count on the Pentagon or the U.S. Corp to provide information at all. Obviously, this has been going on for a while now, and they are either not willing to do anything about it, and they're unwilling to provide information. Now, this is the U.S. Corp in D.C., and the U.S. Corp is different than the United States of America. The United States of America is 50 sovereign countries that are governed. Countries are governed. Corporations have presidents. So this corporation is using the term national security, which is just another way for them to say corporate secrets. So they just make up these words that make you believe that they're not allowed to give us information because national security. And we can't trust them now. They've failed us, and they are incompetent. So, competency is an issue according to their laws. If they find you incompetent, they try and force public defenders on you and attorneys on you. Well, they are now proving and have proven and shown that they are incompetent, unwilling to share information, and we cannot trust them at all. And that's the Pentagon and the U.S. Corp. All right, number 2. We can no longer depend on the military to protect us. On 9/11, they deployed jets. But, you know, when we were attacked on 9/11, they deployed jets. But now, for this, they're doing nothing. Therefore, the military, the U.S. Corps, the United States Corporation's Department of Defense is now proving that they can't protect the citizens and living men and women of the United States of America. Therefore, the U.S. corporation's military, their Department of Defense, is incompetent. But you're paying all this federal tax money to fund the military. So apparently they're just stealing your federal tax dollars and not using it to protect you militarily. They would rather go and send troops overseas to these foreign wars where your sons and daughters are killed, and instead of protecting us here in the United States of America. And as I said before, the United States of America has been militarily invaded and is under military occupation by Northern Command and the U.S. Corporation's Department of Defense. Corporations have departments. Countries are governed. Corporations have presidents. So if we can disband the the U.S. corporation, then each state that has military presence in it can just assimilate that military as their own state military force and militia. Because each state is really its own country. Countries are governed. Corporations have presidents. So the United States Department of Defense has failed us, and we cannot depend on them. And they are proving that right now because they are doing nothing. Number 3, this is possibly a soft disclosure of either non-human intelligence for a faked alien invasion. And so that's this. I don't know if you've heard of Cliff High, but he has the WebBot project. And the WebBot project is a spider crawler project where he deploys programs that scrape everything off the internet and then assess the linguistic patterns. And Cliff High predicted that this was going to happen about 2009. So, 15 years ago, 25 years ago, when he started the project, there was a prediction that Trump would do a Joe Rogan interview, and that 39 days after that Joe Rogan interview, there was going to be the beginning of the alien, non-human intelligence invasion or contact. And now this is what's going to happen. And so his prediction actually came true. I've been following Cliff High and the WebBot project for since 2011, when I started my show, The Ronald Show, documenting the collapse of life as we know it as perpetrated by the worldwide military-industrial complex. And so he predicted that this is when the alien non-human intelligence contact was going to begin. Now, notice they're using the term non-human intelligence instead of alien. The U.S. corporation is using the word alien or alien, because it's really alien, where they are taking your all capital legal fiction and leaning it for their company so that they can tax it and make income off of your slave labor in a fiat Federal Reserve banking scam, where since they've stolen all the gold and silver off the market back in 1933. So this is possibly part of the what I think is a fake alien invasion that's going to be a staged event, because if you remember in the 80s, Ronald Reagan basically laid the groundwork for the New World Order, or the Order of the New World, or the One World Government, by saying that something's going to come from above and we're going to have to come together as an entire world and fight this, alien invasion. And this is just another stepping stone toward their attempt to create the New World Order by a bunch of being controlled by bankers and politicians and corporations. And remember, the United States is a corporation that has militarily invaded the United States of America by Northern Command, northcom.mil. So this could be part of that fake alien invasion, and they're doing it in stages. First, the ships are going to come. There's a movie called about this that was maybe about 10 years ago, 15 years ago, where things happened in stages. And first the ships came, and then the aliens, made contact, and then they enslaved everyone, and then famine came, but the whole time you find out at the end of the movie it was all staged by the government, or the so-called government. All right, number 4. No heat signature, therefore probably holograms. So from what I've heard is these drones are giving off no heat signature. And since there's no heat signature, then that means there's a strong probability that these craft are holograms. And so possibly they are testing out their holographic technology, with the video and audio, because people are seeing them and hearing them. But yet they give off no heat signature, even though they're emitting light. And so without a heat signature from a visible craft, there's a strong probability that they are holograms. And part of Project Bluebeam, if you've heard of that, Project Bluebeam's staged holographic alien invasion or non-human intelligence. Because remember, now the government's using the term alien for people coming from Mexico and Canada and other countries so that they can lean them, alien. In order to learn what words really mean, you got to hyphenate them at certain parts of the word. So the no heat signature means probably holograms. Number 5. Let's see. A preemptive strike against personal use drone vehicles. The Department of Transportation might create a drone police force to man the drone height working area. So what I mean by that is the technology is out there now for people to start having their own personal drone to take to work, to go to the store, to fly all over the country. And they can be, the drones that we have now are charged by USB port. You don't need gasoline for your personal, your little drone. Well, the technology is rapidly increasing to where everyone can have, instead of a car that burns on gasoline or so-called fossil fuels, and that's making the Middle East rich and causing our prices in the United States to go up, causing so much inflation that we're being inflated right out of the ability to go shopping anymore or pay our bills. So this could be a setup to control the airspace where personal drones are going to be used. And so this might be just about controlling that airspace and then being able to put the Department of Transportation in charge of that area in the sky. And then once the drone technology comes out for us to start having our personal drones, they'll have it all police forced under the Department of Transportation and just give us no control or freedom to travel. Now, I know once we do get our personal drones, that there's going to have to be a system in place as far as how we operate those drones without running into each other. And so, yes, there's going to need to be a controlling mechanism in that airspace, and that's fine. But are they going to make it so that it doesn't give us any financial relief? You know what I mean? And is it going to be so strict to where they're giving traffic citations in the airspace of the drones? And are we going to have to register our drones? Meaning we got to turn over our registration and control of our private drones to the Department of Transportation? It just seems like that there's a possibility that this could be a setup for the entire new emerging personal drone technology, and they're going to try and control that airspace. So this could be a reason for that. The fallout from this drone incident that's going on could be the control of that drone airspace. So mark my words, that could happen. And let's see, finally, number 6. We have to ask the U.S. Corp in D.C. that's posing as a government. We have to ask the U.S. Corp to disenfranchise as a company because they have now proven they are liars, tax thieves, and cannot protect us. Liars, tax thieves, and cannot protect us. They're breaking their own federal law. And there is a federal law that says that when an answer is required and they refuse to answer, that they are breaking their own federal law. And then they go into dishonor. So the U.S. corporation is in dishonor because they're unwilling to provide information, and they cannot protect us. They're not deploying jets. They're not doing anything about it, and they're thieves. They're tax thieves. They're oppressing every living man and woman in the United States of America under false pretenses of federal tax collection. That is illegal. And they're not supposed to be able to do that. It's illegal. It's unlawful. And they don't. And remember, taxes are voluntary. I always file exempt on any of my employment paperwork whenever I do work for some employer. I put exempt. I do not pay federal taxes, and because it's voluntary, and because I'm not benefiting from those federal taxes. In fact, trillions and trillions of fiat Federal Reserve tax dollars have gone missing over the years. There's a big issue with trillions of dollars missing right now from federal taxes. The day before 9/11, on September 10th, 2001, the day before the attacks on the Twin Towers, or so-called attacks, Rumsfeld made an announcement that 2 trillion federal tax dollars went missing. They didn't know where they were, but the answers were in Tower 7 that somehow fell in a controlled demolition without ever being hit by an airplane. So this is the issues. So you heard what I went over. U.S. Corps using national security, that term, to say that they won't give us any answers. They can't protect us. They might be staging a fake alien invasion, and this is soft disclosure. They're trying to control personal use drone airspace, and the U.S. corporation needs to disband. And since Trump is becoming CEO of the U.S. corporation, if he could disband them, he could become the governor of governors, so that we could manage the United States of America more effectively, and he could free up our credit. The banks have banked off all of our personal credit, and they've intentionally put us into poverty. In 1933, with Presidential Act 1933, all of the gold and silver was taken off the market, and it no longer backed the greenbacks, the U.S. dollar bills that we use. They became backed by nothing except the faith and spirit of the American citizens. Well, we've lost our faith and spirit. If we could just get our credit back, because we were given unlimited credit in 1933 to discharge all of our debt, it would change the world. We would become prosperous again as an American area of 50 sovereign nations or countries. All right, so hopefully the U.S. Corp will disband. You'll stop paying federal taxes, stop signing your children up to go to the military, and we could make the United States of America great again and free from the tyranny, communism, corruption, and destruction of the U.S. Corp in D.C. that is posing as a government and has militarily invaded the United States of America via Northern Command, whose J2 is actively violating the 1974 Privacy Act by collecting all source intelligence on everyone in its area of responsibility. That includes Canada, the United States, and Mexico. All right, that's it for me. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. Peace.